first I'd like to talk about what I didn't spec into and why. And then we're gonna go through a dungeon, and I'm gonna do some commentary and talk about all the changes to tanking, show rotations, and all that. First thing is butchery. Didn't spec into this because I don't like the idea of getting a constant income of runic powers while leveling, and then at 85 they're gonna be all gone. Hand of Doom. I didn't spec into this because you should have enough CC and interrupt in your groups, so I feel like it's a waste of talent points. Bloodcake Blade. I didn't spec into this because you're gonna use a two-hander for tanking, and you're gonna hit really slow, which means you're not gonna benefit the same from it as you would back in the day when dual wielding in Frost. Blood Parasite. I didn't spec into this because you're gonna have so much self-healing as it is. I don't see any point as to actually, waste talent points and specking into this. You have your Death Pact, you have your Death Strike, your Rune Tap, and your Blood Shield. So that should be enough. Just wanted to show you Runic Empowerment because this is really important to your single target rotation. So look at the tooltip. I've sped up the video and I'm gonna put it into slow motion as soon as I start breaking down the rotations for packs and single target. A lot of the things that I'm gonna say while commentating, a lot of people already know this. I'm just gonna say it anyways, just to avoid any confusion. The only way that you can tank as a Death Knight now is by being in Blood Spec and Blood Presence. Before patch 401, you were reliant on defense on your gear to become crit immune. Now you're spec'ing to improve Blood Presence to become crit immune, and that is so far down into the Blood Spec that you wouldn't be able to tank as any other spec. A really cool thing that Death Knights has gotten is Runic Empowerment. That was the thing I showed you guys before. Runic Empowerment gives you a 45% chance to fill a depleted rune when using Rune Strike. That is gonna give you a lot of uptime on your runes. Now Death Strike has changed as well. Before, you needed to dodge or parry an attack for it to become active. Now, when you're in Blood Presence, it simply just works as a runic power dump. So Rune Strike and Runic Empowerment works really well in conjunction with each other. On single target, ideally you don't want to runic power starve yourself because of the glyph of Death Strike. The more runic powers you have, the harder your Death Strike's gonna hit. So ideally you want to switch between using Rune Strike, Death Strike, Rune Strike, Death Strike, and then so on and so forth. If by any chance you can't fill the right rune by using your Rune Strike to get your Death Strike active, you can always use your Blood Tab or Empower Rune Weapon. If those, on the other hand, are on cooldown, just, use your Heart Strike to fill in the gaps and get some runic powers. In Blood, we've also got the Bone Shield. Although it kinda disappears rather fast because you get hit a lot, it still serves a really tactical purpose when it comes to boss fights. Ideally, if you know a certain boss is gonna do a whole lot of damage at a certain point, you wanna pop it right there and then to reduce the damage taken. Take a load off the healers as well. Another one of our cooldowns, Vampiric Blood, has gotten a really nice addition with the glyph. Instead of just having one cooldown, you can choose to either go with the old cooldown, that is going to increase your health, and increase the amount that you heal yourself with your self-healing abilities. Or use the glyph and change the cooldown altogether, and just get 15% more healing from your healer. And that's why I chose to use it. By specking into Scarlet Fever, your Blood Boil is gonna add a debuff to every target around you, reducing their physical damage dealt by 10%. and by speccing into Crimson Scourge, whenever you use your Plague Strike on a target that's already infected with a Blood Plague, you will get a free Blood Boil. So Scarlet Fever and Crimson Scourge really work well in conjunction with each other. Another thing we have as blood tanks, or as tanks in general, is Vengeance. So whenever you get hit for a lot of damage, you're gonna get Vengeance from it, which is gonna increase your attack power. So on bosses that's gonna hit you really hard and whatnot, you're gonna get a lot of attack power out of that. You can only gain 10% of your maximum health as attack power. Well, let's say as an 85 Death Knight tank, you have 150k health unbuffed. That would still be 15k attack power. That's a whole lot. So that one's gonna be awesome, and it is right now as well. We also have our Blood Shield, which is just, you know, a passive thing, and that's gonna constantly be healing you, and that is really awesome as well. All in all, I'd say blood tanking has come a long way since I tested it on the beta. Back then they hadn't made the changes to the rune strike, and that has really become an awesome thing, because on the beta when I tested tanking, your runes were constantly, you know, depleted, or what do you call it? I mean, you didn't have any runes. You used them all, and then you had to wait like 10 seconds for a new rune to get up. By that addition with the rune strike, they really nailed it, and I have to say that I really think that blood tanking has come a long way, and it's really good. I've been testing it and tanking with it for at least a week now on live servers, and it works really well. Now I'm gonna talk about your rotation on packs. You wanna start with putting down your Death and Decay, Death Gripping the caster in, and adding your diseases. So Icy Touch, Plague Strike. Once you've gotten all the targets in there, you can either do one Blood Boil or just use your Pestilence to spread the diseases. And then you're gonna switch between using your Plague Strike and Blood Boil, Plague Strike and Blood Boil. If your Plague Strike is not up, you can use your Blood Tap to get a Plague Strike up and do Blood Boils again. Once there's 2 mobs left, you want to start using your Heart Strike instead of Blood Boil. That way you will have your Scarlet Fever on people, and you will still have your diseases on them. So you'll bring them down rather nicely and rather fast. At 81 you're gonna get Outbreak, which will enable you to add your Frost Fever and Blood Plague right away, and you're gonna start by using that and then spreading the diseases right away instead at 81. That's how your rotation is gonna change. If you're up against, you know, in Cataclysm, against packs that is gonna take longer to get down, remember to reapply your diseases. Maybe even if your threat is good enough, single target, change out your Glyph of Rune Strike for Glyph of Death and Decay, which will add 50% more duration on your Death and Decay as well. That's gonna help you a lot regarding maintaining threat on the packs you have. Although there's gonna be a lot of crowd control and whatnot, you will still have some mobs on you. We're talking about packs of between 5 and 7 mobs in Cataclysm, so you might need it, you might not. But if you feel like you're losing threat when you're tanking packs, then I definitely change out the Glyph of Rune Strike for Glyph of Death and Decay. When it comes to single target, if you have enough runic powers saved up already when you engage the boss, I definitely start out with using a Rune Strike, then a Death Strike. then adding your diseases with Icy Touch Plague Strike, and then do 1 Blood Boil to get the Scarlet Fever on the boss. If you have enough runic powers at that point, pop your Dancing Rune Weapons. If not, do a few Heart Strikes to get some runic powers, and then pop your Dancing Rune Weapons. At this point you want to start doing the rotation between your Rune Strike and Death Strike. Just keep on going for it. If you go low on runes, pop your Blood Tap, or even use your Empower Rune Weapon. If you, on the other hand, don't have any runic power saved up, obviously Horn of Winter and even your popping your Bone Shield is going to give you runic powers. But then start by adding the diseases, and as soon as you can, use do a Rune Strike and a Death Strike. The Death Strike is going to give you some runic powers as well. You might not have enough runic powers at that point to actually pop your Dancing Rune Weapons, do a few Heart Strikes, and then you should be good to go. And then do the same rotation as I talked about before, and that is pretty much it. So your main focus here is always keep on your diseases, keep Scarlet Fever on by using Blood Boil on the boss, and then start switching between using your Rune Strike and Death Strike. Whenever your stuff is on cooldown and you only have Blood Runes left, either use the Blood Rune to refresh your Scarlet Fever, or use Heart Strikes to get some runic powers so you can get going on the Rune Strike, Death Strike rotation. And that is about it. That is how you will do this. Remember guys, comment, thumbs up, subscribe, and if you like this whole commentary thing, put it in the notes and I'll do some more of that in the future.